Shadiversity has uploaded a love letter to AI art and is telling you why you don't need to be afraid. Oh boy. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here, so let's start with the tweet he uploaded before he posted the video. He says, "My skills are increasing. Making a video as we speak showing my process and how I get these results. The level of artistry needed, the technical knowledge required, and the amount of work involved I think is going to shock people." Well, let me tell you, I'm not shocked because I watched this video and it's exactly what I expected. So he says in the left image, my AI assisted art skill 6 months ago, and on the right he says my AI assisted art skill now. 6 months of a traditional or digital artist working on their craft would have progressed significantly further than this. Is the one on the right really that much better, or is it just a different lighting scenario and background? What you're seeing is not an update in his skill, you're seeing an update in the models he's using and the loras he's found to use. This isn't some exponential growth in terms of his abilities. You take these models away and he could not do these things. And he also misspelled assisted, so you know he's not a details guy, and there are 2 suns in this image. There's 2 major light sources coming from the front and one from the back, and I'm supposed to believe that this is skilled art. Because that's his whole angle here, to show how talented he is and how much work this is, as if you couldn't get very similar results with little effort while literally taking a dump. The whole selling point of AI is democratization. Everyone can do amazing things with low effort, right? So why are the high effort images virtually indistinguishable from the low effort ones? Finding ways to dump ridiculous amounts of time into an AI slot machine isn't talent or skill, it's little more than just patience and a desire to keep pulling that lever for one more hit. Now, before we continue with a bit of a breakdown and analysis of Shad's process, I just want to qualify my perspective and opinions. My name is Reed Southen, and I've been a concept artist and illustrator in the film industry for 15 years. I've worked on things like The Matrix, The Hunger Games, Transformers, and I've worked for Marvel and DC. These are my opinions, but they're opinions based on years of experience as a professional artist. So, we're going to ignore the elephant in the room for the purpose of this video. That elephant being that these image generators are built off of billions of pieces of data, including unlicensed work of people such as myself without consent, credit, or compensation. We're not going to get into the weeds with how these models work or learn, that's for another time. This is about Shad and this bizarre sense of accomplishment AI artists seem to have. Also, please note, I am not an essayist, I am not a YouTuber, I'm an artist who's concerned and frankly a little pissed. So, let's start with the art Shad has done without AI. I don't want to rag on the work because we all start somewhere, right? But even someone who's not an artist can see the issues here. The lighting, the shading, the perspective, the anatomy, the balance, they're all lacking fundamentals. Art is hard, so I get why people gravitate towards AI to do it for them, but this is a prime example of not actually wanting to learn anything or do the work. This AI conversion is weird and off-putting, but it's somehow an improvement? At least with the original, I can see choices being made and intent. It shows me someone really trying to do something cool. The AI version looks worse, not better.
My artistry is actually at a professional level.
I'm not saying your
art
is addressing you just good.
Easily at a professional standard.
Yes.
People have commissioned me. It's
agreed.
just I haven't chosen
But
to use
Can I say
it.
This is
though,
vocation,
there are
this
a
is
lot
job.
of people who are at a professional standard who can't work as an artist.
Yeah, but we're talking about skill, not, wanting to
Yeah, I
work
know,
at it.
but like,
Joss, you need to be very honest
if you were to
about
get
my
to-
level
if I'm
as
going
an
to be
artist.
very honest, I love you. I'd say appointing artist.
Well, no, because then you should get a point first. I'm easily at a
I
professional standard.
would be willing to give you 2 points.
Professional standard, you know that.
I'm
Your
respectfully
your
disagree.
strengths, but my strengths are anatomy and character.
Absolutely, you're a skilled artist. That's good.
It's a point of reference.
Shad appears to be deeply self-conscious about his work, to the point of arguing with his brother, well-known art YouTuber Jazza, about the merits of his art. It doesn't take a rocket surgeon to see why he's leaning so hard into AI. So tell me, what about the AI version of this drawing is an enhancement on the original? It's a complete redo. It doesn't look anything like the original character. The design is entirely different. How can one lay claim to this art and claim it represents their idea? It doesn't. Anyways, enough about Shad. Let's get into his process. The thing that he's suggesting requires a high level of artistry, technical knowledge, and significant work, and shows, and I quote, deep artistic expression.
To reach the quality that I'm able to achieve, I actually do something that not everyone does with these AI image generators. I use multiple models for the same image. which I will demonstrate a little later. And so
Part of the process for his Supergirl image involves training a model of his wife's face, which I'm going to ignore because it's trivial with Dream Booth and watching a 10-minute YouTube video. But him saying he uses multiple models to achieve his result like it's a revelation is ridiculous. Anyone who's dabbled with Stable Diffusion locally or on Mage Space has likely attempted similar things already. It's not new and it's not difficult.
first, you need to refine the prompt, and finding the prompt that works best is a process that can take thousands of different tries. And most people who first try Stable Diffusion have no idea what they are, or that there are even different models to use, or the importance of keywords, order, weighting in prompts, and figuring out all of this is actually technical knowledge, skill in using this technology. Even when the technology improves with updates, you need to learn how to use those updates. What is it doing? Oftentimes new extensions need to actually be looked for, found, added to Stable Diffusion, and you then need to learn how to use them.
To clarify this, he's saying that as the software is updated, you have to learn the updates, and he's framing it as if it's some insanely difficult, time-consuming process to find prompts and learn things. The problem is there are a million YouTube videos that can teach you or lead you to these things in literally minutes. Was that Photoshop plugin you downloaded to give you a color wheel and mixer box difficult to learn? Are actions difficult for you to install and run in Photoshop? Shad's whole video plays like a long-winded, self-congratulatory attempt at convincing the world that yes, he's a super talented artist. Here, he's explaining how he writes his prompts, and as someone who's dabbled with these things in order to understand them, I can tell you that he's not very good at it. For starters, there are way too many parameters here. This is a throw everything at the wall and see what sticks approach. With so many parameters, none of them is weighted very heavily, so how can you tell how much any part of it is really contributing to the image? That's why he's using the parentheses to add weight, but I can also tell you that aside from one instance, he's not even using those effectively. Instead of adding additional parentheses to increase the weight of a particular part of the prompt, you have far more control with using numerical values, not just nested parentheses. There are also numerous typos, weird colors, and model shoot as one word. How much can this represent your vision if you're feeding it words that don't make sense? You might as well slam your hand on the keyboard for some of these and see how it affects your output. Maybe that'll be brilliant. There's also the negative prompts, which are almost as numerous as the positive ones. You put things here you don't want to see. Shad has added things like mutilated, deformed, ugly, bad anatomy, disfigured, gross proportions, too many fingers, or bad art. In fact, he put bad art twice because he forgot he already did it. In the past, these were things you needed to practice at to get good at. But now, all you have to do is weight them negatively and the AI will make you a great artist, right? Right?
There are a couple of repeats there, that adds additional weight.
Oh, okay. So he's saying that the repeated terms there are to add additional weight, not because he forgot. That's what the parentheses are for. That's what the numerical values inside the parentheses are for. I'm pretty sure he just reviewed his footage and realized, oh, whoops.
My AI-generated images have a particular look to them, and it's the result of the way that I prompt. And I prompt this way because it gives me the results that I want. This is not random. This has been achieved through trial and error experimentation.
So this one's particularly wild to me because he's claiming that he has a unique style with his prompting and the way his output looks. Anyone who's seen any AI-generated art, can you tell the difference between Shad's art and literally every other AI art image out there? I can't.
So we are going to be using the strengths of Rev Animated combined with the strengths of other models to achieve what we want. So I start generating a couple of images, and yes, some look good, but they don't have what I'm after. And then I generated this image, and at first I was ready to move on, but I paused because there was something that I saw in this image that I had to go back to, and this is where applying artistic talent is really important. You might not see what I see in this image, but I see potential for a brilliant pose and composition here. It's not actually there, but I see the potential for it. This is hugely important, and it defines such a massive difference in someone who is able to apply an artistic eye to this process versus someone who doesn't have the experience or ability to do so. And they're just...
So to recap, he starts with one model, rolls the dice a bunch of times and nearly passes on something that he thinks he likes, and now we're being told how good his eye is and how he's a cut above the rest with his images because he recognized the potential in a random version of an idea he generated after typing some words. We're led to believe this is talent. This is his talent. Let's see what he does next. Okay, so what he's doing here is he's upscaling the image so he has a bigger image to work with. And then he's going into Photoshop, and what you're about to see is some of the most basic Photoshop editing that you could possibly do. He's swapping the shoulder over because he doesn't like that. He's swapping the hand over because he doesn't like that. This is just regular round brush and lasso tool. Anybody can learn this in an afternoon. And doing a really, really poor job of cloning the building out with sky and repeated patterns. This does not take a lot of skill or effort. Anybody can learn this. It's not impressive, and it doesn't need to be because he's just going to feed it back into the AI.
So I just want you to take a look at the before and after of this image. All these edits were done by hand, or, digital hand. You know what I mean. And already there has been significant human input to get the results that we want. And to say the final image that we're going to get out of this foundation was just made by the AI is completely false and disingenuous.
Take note of how hard he's trying to convince you of all the work that he did, the sloppy paint out, the copy and paste, the moving things over, how hard he's trying to convince you that he did significant work here, and he's defensive about it, saying that to say otherwise would be disingenuous. But go ahead, judge for yourself. Did he do a lot of work? Is this significant human input?
I'm going to regenerate the image now. And what I've done right here, knowing how to work the settings to get the results you want, is something that only comes with experience and practice. It is literally a skill that you develop using this new tool.
So here he's basically taken the previous image that was more stylized, used a new model that's more realistic, and fed it to image to get something different. And he wants you to know that this is a skill. It's a skill he has. And I'm not sure if he's trying to convince you or if he's trying to convince himself.
And the final result is better. Specifically, look at how much better the hands are because I was able to give the AI a little more freedom to push it towards the results that I want.
Notice here, he's simultaneously taking credit for what the AI did, but also saying he gave the AI freedom. So which is it? Here he's taking 3 different images that he likes, different parts of, and he's going to sort of combine them together by copying and pasting some stuff. I want you to listen to what he says here.
Again, the ability to do this requires knowledge of anatomy and proportion. Because I know how to draw feet, I also know how to change and warp this one so it will match a right foot in the image. Literally photo bashing from the assets I've been able to create from the AI image generator.
So this is a fun one because he's done a poor job of actually attaching that foot, and he's saying he knows how to do this because he knows how to draw feet. Well, I beg to differ. Nothing about the artwork he's provided as examples show that he knows how to draw feet. He's lying to you, and he's lying to himself. And you may ask yourself, why does it matter? Why do you care? Well, it matters because he's portraying both himself and AI as things they are not. He's not as talented as he would like you to believe, and he's framing AI as simply a tool, despite the fact that you can see it's doing 95% of the actual work and heavy lifting for him. In fact, he has a 13-minute long video in which he wants you to know that he can in fact draw. A 13-minute long video about drawing that only shows a handful of pieces of art, and where he also wants you to know that he doesn't even like drawing. Is it starting to become clear why he likes AI so much and why he's so defensive about it?
Yes, I can draw, okay? But I don't enjoy it. Now that might strike you as rather odd. Yes, it's true, I actually don't enjoy the act of drawing. What I enjoy is what I'm drawing. So the genre, that's specifically. And see, that's interesting.
It sure is interesting.
This is simply having an eye for proportion and consistency in the image. The skirt is also too short for my liking as well, so we're going to increase the length, and it doesn't need to be flawless in its quality. It's going to mess up the consistent lines of the pleats of the skirt, but that actually doesn't matter because what we need is to give the AI a guide so it knows what to fix.
So what he's saying here is don't aim for quality. It's fine if it's messed up. The AI will fix it. And so here what he's doing is he's adding some details that he wants the AI to generate for him. So he's being sloppy about it. He wants some lines, he wants some fasteners, because the AI will take care of these things without really much thought. He just puts the lines in the color that he wants them. He does an image to image in painting when he only changes the exact part of the image that he wants, and boom, he gets results. So he's doing another quick little minor pass here to smooth out the boobs because he doesn't like how those look. He's also going to copy over a fastener and touch up the collarbone a little, and then regenerate. And notice how sloppy it all is, because it doesn't matter, because he's just directing the AI to do the work. He's not doing much of anything. At the end of the day, just because something takes time doesn't mean it takes skill. He continues to adjust the image a little bit by painting on it, and then he also does a little bit of adjusting of the prompt to make the outfit a little bit more metallic. And he talks about how this takes skill to know how to remove words and add weights in order to get exactly what you need, as if it's not just a matter of trial and error and waiting until it just clicks.
It's requiring such constant guidance and human input. This literally feels like me making changes on a canvas with a brush.
It's literally not. What it feels like and what it is are two different things.
Which is the direct result of very intentional action taken by myself. This wasn't the AI pushing for these results, that was me, as if I had a digital brush remaking the image.
What he's doing is not painting, but he's convinced himself it is. He's directing the work. This makes him akin to a client, not a painter. At best, it makes him an art director, making markups for the artist, in this case the AI, to execute. Yet he's really keen on you seeing him as a painter.
Fixing up the hands and so they look far better and more realistic. This again is literally digital illustration that I'm applying to the image.
He wants you to know that this is literally digital illustration that he's applying. No, this is touch-up work. You are not illustrating, you are fixing. And here he's just doing more of the same. He's adjusting the prompt to make sure he can regenerate some better hands and he can get some red cuffs on there. So here he's going to start generating his wife's face into the image with the model he created. And I want you to listen to what he says here.
I'm a perfectionist, and I'm an artist. I want this image to be as good as possible. This is the difference between someone with an artistic eye, an eye for proportion and detail, versus someone who doesn't. There are many people who would look at this image and not be able to see any additional errors or flaws, and that can be well enough. I think someone would have every right to be proud of the final result and quality of this image. It is beautiful, but there is a difference between making good AI art and making some of the best.
He wants to let you know that he's not like the other girls. He makes some of the best AI art, not just good AI art. He's not like the rest of you prompters. He's a perfectionist. Despite the fact that there is clearly more than one sun in this image. There's one below the clouds. There's one that's shining on top of the clouds somehow. There's one that's somehow in the front of her. Perfection. Best quality. ArtStation trending. And now what he's doing here is just more touch-up work and combining multiple versions that he's put together. He regenerates a new face for his wife, and then he regenerates the hair, and then this.
This is looking pretty darn good. But there is a problem with the image, and once again, I wonder if you can notice it. Only someone who is familiar with anatomical proportions would be able to notice this. Her shoulders are far too wide to the rest of her frame. It makes her look way too bulky.
Did you catch that? Only someone who's familiar with anatomical proportion could ever catch that her shoulders are way too wide. That's the skill he has. Pay no attention how big her head is compared to her body. Only someone who knows anatomical proportion could catch that, and that's not the case here, obviously.
But you can still see the overall process, which took me 2.5 hours from start to finish. A lot more time, work, effort, and skill needed than just a click. I can't see how anyone who've watched this entire process could then assume that the AI is just doing all the work.
Okay, he keeps going on like this, so I'm just going to speed it up real fast.
And that there is no human artistic vision or input or talent needed. People who say such things honestly do not know what they are talking about. They are statements from profound ignorance when it comes to this technology. And deeply insulting to me as an artist who has just made something of deep artistic expression.
Oh, let me play that back real quick.
They are statements from profound ignorance when it comes to this technology. And deeply insulting to me as an artist who has just made something of deep artistic expression.
So, someone like me with 15 years of experience in film is profoundly ignorant, and my opinion of his work is deeply insulting. Well, I find the work that he does deeply insulting.
The claim that AI art is in no way art at all is a statement of profound ignorance and elitism. And people can believe that. I just know it's not true, because I know I continually experience deep artistic satisfaction from the things I am able to create with these incredible tools. Because look at this final image. How could anyone say that it is made by AI, when it's literally impossible for the AI to have made it? You saw how much human input was involved to create this image, this piece of art. I hope everyone who's watched this video now knows that no, this is a piece of art made by me, made by a human, using tools. in combination with other artistic tools like Photoshop and my own artistic ability, it is still human-made art, just assisted with AI technology.
Okay. So, he's very adamant that he's super talented and he did all this work. And look, this video isn't about me trying to dump on Shad, though he certainly makes it easy. It's about calling out this stuff for what it is. If you want to be an artist, be an artist. If you're sitting there prompting, you're not an artist, you're a client. And if you're doing what Shad does, you're an art director who can make markups and do quick edits to show the AI what you want it to do. But don't kid yourself, the AI is doing the work. I don't care how advanced the direction is. You take away my Photoshop, I can still create in other programs just as easily. You take away my computer, I can still draw in Paint. I still know anatomy, I still know color theory. I can still draw a scene in 3-point perspective with whatever focal length I choose. Shad couldn't be the artist he is now without my work, and the work of every other artist whose art is in those datasets, and that is a fact. If you take the magic Skinner box away from an AI artist, they are dead in the water. It's as simple as that. Shad could not do this without AI. He doesn't have the technical knowledge nor skill, but he wants you to know that it's not the AI doing the work, despite the fact that if Stable Diffusion disappeared tomorrow, he wouldn't be able to create at this caliber anymore. And he's also learned nothing about art outside the workings of the AI. No gained fundamentals, nothing. And again, you may ask, why do you care? Why does it matter? Let him have fun. Well, it matters because me and virtually every artist I know was stolen from to make this tech work. It's theft on an unprecedented scale and forces artists to quite literally compete with their own work, which the US Copyright Office and copyright law has thoughts on. Jobs are drying up. I'm seeing it in real time. There's AI artwork on art department walls, in pitch decks. I don't worry about a prompt engineer taking my job. They don't have the fundamentals or ability to fit into a pipeline. I worry about one artist doing the job of 10 and it being derivative crap on top of it. You may not support the writers in the WGA, you may not support actors in SAG-AFTRA, you may not support artists, but if we don't call this out for what it is, we're going to lose the very humanity in art. Originality is already hard to come by, and people want to offload all creativity to a few different companies instead of supporting real artists. That's not a world I want to live in. There are serious consequences to what's happening right now, and normalizing and encouraging the pillaging of artists' work for an instant gratification machine is deplorable. They say adapt or die, but frankly, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. Until these models are ethical, I will continue to dump on AI art because regardless of how many thousands of iterations someone does in order to feel like they're working hard, it is, at its core, little more than ejaculated pixels resembling someone else's hard work and dedication. Thank you. And what is that fucking thumb?